Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast. I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I'm so stoked today to have Shara with me. Welcome, Shara.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Lorraine.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk. Could you tell my audience a little bit about what you do and who you serve?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, my name is Shara, and I am the owner, founder of Luxe Beauty and Body Academy. So I started out as a service provider, was able to build my service-based business to six figures within months of opening. And so obviously I kind of took the beauty industry by storm locally and essentially transitioned into the online beauty course realm of things. It was in the middle of the pandemic, so um, the online atmosphere was very, very prevalent. And basically, like I said, I went ahead and did that with the online courses. So we provide courses for people who want kind of more of that continuing education. So um, cosmetology schools, barber schools, things of that nature. They kind of teach you the basics, and then you go on to learn your specialties and lashes and brows and different things that you're not taught in school. And so that's what we provide in the online atmosphere, and then of course the supplies and equipment that correspond with that. With me having that successful, service-based business, and then the multi-million dollar academy, I have also gone into the coaching aspect of teaching those beauty business owners, because what I have found very, very early on, even in the service industry, when I was providing services at that time, was it's not necessarily about you providing this amazing service, right? Because there's so many people who provide great service. They're good at what they do. However, what I found that they were lacking, and then this literally goes across the board, no matter what industry or niche you're in, is that if you are lacking the business fundamentals and the foundation, that is what is going to keep you from really being able to excel and exceed. And scale your business. And so that's what I help beauty business owners, essentially do, is get that foundation and really be able to succeed in their business and make, that six figures that they're looking for.
I love that. So it's funny it's like, here you are, you're in the industry, you've built up
Right.
your business and everything. What inspired you to become like a beauty business coach? I mean,
Right.
it's not the next progression. I mean, I know a lot of hairdressers and I'm friends with several of them, and I'm like thinking, well, they didn't move on to this. So what inspired you?
Right. So, ironically enough, my background is business and finance. So I was a tax and business consultant for 20 years. And then simultaneously, about two-thirds of the way through that journey, I started in the mortgage industry back in early 2000s. And so my background is in that, business and finance, right? And so I have a very analytical mind, and that is kind of what, like I said, helped to set me apart, was because of that background. I was able to succeed in the service-based business, the online academy business, and that's what kind of drove me to the coaching aspect of things. Because I naturally was already doing that on my Instagram live, on my YouTube, right? Coaching people, because I had so many people asking me, Well, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I get clients? How do I market? Where do I start? What should I do? What do you recommend? So I'm already providing these services essentially, quote unquote, for free, right? And I want people to succeed. I want to see them have the success that I has had, because if I can be, for the lack of a better word, a nobody, right, in the beauty industry, and be able to make a name for myself, right? I know that somebody else can kind of follow in my footsteps if they're following that same roadmap and do the same thing, right? And so that's kind of that was the natural progression, because again, I was already providing a lot of this feedback, and I ended up creating not only some ebooks and things of that nature with a lot of my tips and advice and things that I did for myself, and what I created my roadmap, but then also created that signature program to work closely with the beauty professionals to be able to reach that level of success that I had. So I know.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because you're in the beauty space, but yet you use words like, like roadmap
Right.
and, PDF courses,
Right.
you know, so who was it that you must have connected with somebody in the coaching space? You just came up
No.
with it all on your own. That you
Yeah.
wanted to be a coach, and
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Right. Right. I know. And it's funny because, like I said, um, with me having that business and finance background, like that's really where my mind, and my heart and all of that was, right? Like I absolutely loved the beauty service, and providing those services. I miss my clients. I still have connections with a lot of them that I provided services for. And I've been able to like refer them out to other people that I would get services done by, like, hey, I trust this person. But I think honestly, like I said, because of my background, that's kind of where that comes from. And even when I started out in the beauty industry, a lot of people would ask me like, who's your mentor? Who do you look up to? Like, who's your go-to? And I'm like, I don't have one. I didn't, and so I feel like,
Wow.
right, I feel like a lot of people, um well, not a lot of people, I apologize, a lot of industries kind of lack having that mentor, right? Having that person to go to. So I kind of had to fumble through things, you know, trial and error, figure things out, what works, what doesn't. And I created that roadmap. So I'm like, okay, well, if I could go ahead and, do these things, right? Why not, and be successful? Why not provide that roadmap to somebody else to where they can go, okay, step one? Because the way that I like to teach things is the way that I like to learn, right? You give me, and this goes for whether it's in the beauty industry, the business space, or even back when I had a job, right? You give me step one, step two, step three. Okay, step one, turn on my computer. Step two, put in my password. Step three, click your mouse. Like, I'm going to follow those steps because it's very easy to follow. And so that's kind of
Yeah.
how a lot of people need that, right? And so I do feel like in the online space or even in the coaching space, a lot of people tell you what to do. Oh, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, but they don't tell you how to do it. Right. And so I feel like that is kind of one of the things that's lacking. I was actually speaking with a client recently, and she was talking about a coaching program that she had hired. And it was very easy for me to identify like what is out there, because, like you said, I didn't have a coach, right? So I don't know. All I know is what I have. So I don't have anything to compare it to. And so I was encouraged to hear what she said about theirs and what it was lacking, because it let me know that what I have is different. It is what is needed, right? So what she said was she paid for like a 6-week program with this coach. I don't even know who the coach was. It really doesn't matter. But basically she would get on weekly Zooms, and I'm assuming, I think it was probably like an hour Zoom, hour and a half, whatever. And the coaching was just, hey, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you my knowledge every week, right? So, she didn't have anything to refer to. There was no curriculum. There was no, right. Okay. So I apologize. So, with my program, again, and this is not like about my program, but at the same time, I feel like it is about what is needed, what's out there that is needed, right? Is that it comes with a curriculum. So you have that foundation. So then when you do get to sit with me, right, I'm coaching you and we're actually walking through the steps and implementing everything that is needed, right? And then I've got the steps on what to follow and how to do that also in that same curriculum. And so again, my thing was I'm creating something that I needed, right? And I know I'm not the only person who needs kind of that roadmap to follow, because sometimes when things are all over the place, you're like, okay, well, I know I need a social media. Okay, well, I know that I need, a booking link, or I know I need a website. I know I need to attract clients, but you don't know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so you
I
kind
think
of need to break it down.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, you hit all the key words here. A lot of people go into these coaching programs and they are, it's about the community and they
Right,
push that. But the problem is that first of all, number one, there's no cookie cutter approach.
right,
And number two, everybody learns differently. And I've been
right,
just, through several coaching programs, and I currently work with a coach, and I've
right.
worked with this coach for years. And I feel that there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't really help the business owner. I want to ask this because, I've never had somebody from the beauty industry. You're
Right.
very creative, and I
Thank
see
you.
how your creativeness, but because of your background, you're strategic, and I hear that,
Yes.
but there's challenges for beauty business owners, especially in today's world. What would you say is the biggest challenge, and what would you say to help somebody overcome that challenge?
I can honestly say across the board, this is what I see. And again, I like to kind of, especially when I come on these as a guest, I like to not only just talk about what I see in the beauty industry, but align that with no matter what industry you're in. And that is that people think the problem that they need to solve or where they need help with is, how do I get clients? How do I market? How do I attract new business? Right? When in reality, what they need to do first and what they're really lacking is the foundation, right? And what I mean by that, and I'll give you my example in the beauty industry. Their Facebook and Instagram, or their social media, right, is not geared towards attracting their ideal client. So when somebody does come to their Instagram or their social media or their website, they have broken links. Somebody can't tell where they're located. Their email is broken, or they click on their website link and it goes to one of those 404 pages, right? Things of that nature. So you want to make sure that that Instagram, that Facebook, that TikTok, whatever social media platform they have, is set up for success, right? You want to have your highlights all filled out and things of that nature. Same thing with your pricing competitively, doing your market area research. I cannot tell you how many people that I have talked to, excuse me, that don't know how much it costs per client to service said treatment, right? They don't know what it costs. So if you don't know how much it costs per client, how can you effectively price your services so that you're making money and that you're attracting the right clientele? Do you know how much other businesses charge? Right. So these are kind of some of the fundamentals and the foundations that I speak of that people are lacking. Policies and procedures, setting the proper expectations so that your client can see what are your policies, what's your payment policy, can they bring children, you know, what is the policy on cancellations and last minute and rescheduling and all of just some of those things, right? Setting the proper expectation with your clients so that you can have that good rapport and that relationship with your clients. Once you have that foundation in place, now we can go and start to organically attract clients and promote your services, because otherwise, and I use this example as a business owner as well as a consumer. If I'm looking to get services done by somebody, no matter what service that is, and I go to your social media or your booking platform or wherever, and I can't get the answers to my questions, or you have 30 services listed and I get overwhelmed because I don't know what service I need, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go find somebody else where I can easily see, okay, they're located in Sacramento, California. Everything's, together. Booking link is easy. They've got 5 services that are listed, so on, right? So if you don't have those things in place, and you attracting business is just going to be a waste of time and money. So once you have that foundation in place, now we can do the organic marketing. Now we can do the paid advertising. And I can 100% honestly say I did not do paid advertising when I was growing my service-based business. However, I do paid advertising as well as organic with my online business. And 9 times out of 10, I see people say, oh, it doesn't work. The small solopreneur says, oh, the paid advertising doesn't work. Google ads don't work. Facebook and Instagram don't work, or doesn't work. It's a waste of money. And I can 100% tell you that it does work. You're just not doing it right.
You know what cracks me up, because you do it so you understand.
Right.
It always bothers me that I look at people's, I do social media marketing and PPC and SEO and everything. And it always boggles me why you're spending money on Google ads, yet you put your social media icons in the right-hand corner, when what needs to be in the right-hand corner is a phone number. And it's like, because why would you pay all that money to bring that? You're paying all this money to bring them to your website. And now all of a sudden you're bringing them to your social media. That absolutely makes no sense to me. And I see this all the time in any industry. Listen, I love everything that you have to say. If there is one piece of advice, universal, not just industry, what would that piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would be for you to find somebody that you look up to. And this was something that I did again early on, kind of going back to people asking me, who's your mentor? My mentor was not, or somebody that I was looking up to on social media in the business industry was not somebody that was in the beauty industry. It was a realtor. It was a fashion, influencer. It was somebody that had a car detailing business. It did not have to be somebody that was in my niche. I found somebody who had a social media that was that I was attracted to, whether it was the way that they did their page and the aesthetics, excuse me, whatever it was. I followed them and I took the information that they were using and putting on their platforms, and I figured out a way to reinvent that and make it my own, right? So rather than me trying to be creative and come up with my own ideas, my go-to, or the people that I looked up to, were, again, people that were in other niches. So following people on social media that are not necessarily in your same genre will be helpful to you, if you are in a business that maybe you don't have that guru, to follow, and maybe that guru that you do follow doesn't have, a coaching program or something along those lines. But I can 100% honestly say I wish that there was a me, right, in the beauty industry back then, because it would have made things so much easier for me to go, okay, this is somebody I can follow. They're going to give me the roadmap to follow, and this is going to save me time and money. So that would be my one piece of advice: finding somebody that's, in your niche or industry, and being able to learn from them. It's invaluable.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for being a part of my show. If somebody resonated with you and they need to have a conversation with you, how would they get in
Yeah,
touch with you?
absolutely. So they can find me on Facebook and Instagram. It is Luxe, Luxe, Beauty and Body Co. That's CO, like company. And you can also find us on the World Wide Web, of course, luxebeautyandbodyco.com.
Great. Well, again, I want to thank you for being on the show, and everyone out there. Don't forget to subscribe to the Biz Gone Social podcast, and don't forget to leave some reviews. Until next week, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at Biz Gone Social for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.